Yes. Hello, Melrose. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Steve Casella.
And I'm Jen LeClaire.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. What could be better than that?
Living the dream.
And we invite you to join us, 781-665-MMTV, 781-665-6688.
Welcome back, Steve.
Thank you. It's been a while.
I know.
I'm surprised you let me back on the show after my last performance.
We're thrilled to have you back. We dearly miss Eugenia Gibbons, who couldn't be here tonight.
We do. I'm the poor man's substitute.
So someday,
at least in the dancing.
Someday we're going to have the four of us back together again.
Getting the band back together.
We're going to get the band back together.
Totally.
We're going to do the whole thing. But right now, we're glad to have you back, and I'm impressed because did you know he's the king of Buy Nothing Melrose Southwest?
Oh,
I've never
why
seen
is that?
I've never seen somebody introduced to it and move so quickly to clean out their house and make a
we've
lot
got
of transactions.
Stuff, you know, and I've made 0 transactions. I think people just don't want our stuff.
Nothing consummated yet.
Not how I would
Keep
put
trying.
it.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
I don't know
Keep
what
trying.
kind of website it is. No, I have put a couple things on there, and so far nobody's been interested. So
Oh.
keep trying.
What I love about it is somebody has to be politely interested. So it's not just the first
Please
come,
consider
first
me.
serves.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
consider me.
Right.
Which goes with the kindness thing. We're going to talk about kindness today. You may have noticed we have the bar set up. We're going to talk about spirits. In Melrose.
Yeah, there is a reason why we have liquor here. This isn't just how you do the show every week.
No, it should be, but
It might be. It might be. But it's the spirit of kindness. It's all of that. So we're going to talk about the new liquor laws. We're going to talk about Kindness Day coming up tomorrow. Maybe we can start with some of the news around town about Diamici's is gone.
oh my God, yeah.
There's a BB school meeting tonight. Paul Broder was sworn in on Monday. A lot is happening, as usual, in Melrose this week.
Yeah, it seems like that's what's happened in Melrose recently with restaurants is they just like disappear in the dark of night. You know, you think of Spice, Diamici's, just like poof.
And they appear very, very slowly.
That's
I'm waiting
right.
for this rising eagle to rise, and I don't know when it's going to happen.
Right. The poor eagle. I
Do you
know.
have any inside scoop on
I
that?
don't. No, I don't. We're all still waiting. But the Diamici's thing was really weird. I mean, they just left and shuttered, and there was like still food in there. I mean, I wish someone had tipped me off to that. I would have like gone in and got some extra cookies or something before they skipped town.
Just go in and loot the place
Yes,
after
yeah,
they close
totally.
the door.
I mean, where was all the loot? Yeah, there should have been some looting.
Half price sale at least.
Day old bread. Yeah.
So I guess all 4 locations
Yeah.
are gone.
It's so weird.
Just all shuttered suddenly. I heard like employees were notified at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
that Monday.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I like got up at 4 o'clock to go make bread and got there and it was closed. Just as an aside.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was I was going to be something I might have mentioned in the win section of the week, but I'll mention it now since we're talking about it because I just thought it was so cool. Bagel World put on their Facebook page that they would love to interview all former Diamici's employees. It's a terrible time of year to lose a job, and we welcome all applications.
That's nice.
That's very
That's really
kind.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
very kind of Bagel World. That's
Yeah.
Bagel World's random act of kindness.
It does. It kind of leaves a hole on Main Street, though, and it seems like there's a couple big ones now.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to start filling in some of those places.
Yep.
Yes.
Agreed.
So-
Well, I just want to add to some of the quick things that you ran down. Again, congratulations, Mayor Broder. That was very exciting. Like you said, that was Monday morning, and he took office officially at like 5:01. So congratulations to the new mayor.
Yes.
Very exciting.
It was a very nice ceremony.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but you can watch all this stuff on
Yeah.
MMTV. I continue to be impressed by the coverage.
There. Yep.
And
Amazing.
there was the room was packed. He had family and friends and a lot of elected officials there, and it was a very nice ceremony. He's off and running.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a new era. You know, it's been for a lot of us who have moved to Melrose somewhat recently. This is the first time we've seen this. You know, the first time we've had a new mayor, and it feels sort of like an opportunity to try some new things, see where the city reconsider sort of where the city's going, which is one of the things we'll be talking about tonight. So for me, as a relatively new Melrosian, that's sort of how I'm looking at the opportunities that having a new mayor provides.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And that's where I think that the liquor law proposal thing caught me a little off guard. So you talk about empty spaces down at Main Street, and we talk about changing mayors, and we have 8 new city councilors, and all of a sudden there was a very specific proposal put forth to modify the liquor laws. And we're fortunate tonight that we have a city councilor with us who can come and educate us a little bit about that and talk to us provide a little bit more context. So, Mike Zwirko, we're having a member of the production team assist Mr. Zwirko.
One of our many grips.
This is your walk. This is your walk-in.
He can't hear it yet.
That's for you. You got that?
I like it. Happy to be here.
Beats Baby
Should we
Shark.
give him a little more slack, maybe? I'm not sure if that's going to work. No, you can't do that.
We like to keep our elected officials on a tight rope.
no
around
slack.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. I'm here.
No slack.
I am here.
No slack. Look what we brought for you too. This is for you.
Spirits and charcuterie.
We have spirits and charcuterie
ring a bell?
tonight.
It
Sound
does.
familiar?
It does.
You can't have one without the other.
Yes. It's awesome. Thank you.
Councilor Zwirko, thanks for joining us tonight. And maybe you could give us a brief synopsis of what was before the city council. I think it was this week. Was it this week? Just a couple days ago?
It was not this week. It was about less than a week. It was a week ago.
Okay.
Yep. So basically what happened was in late October, then Mayor Inferna notified the council by placing an order on our agenda that stated her desire to file a home rule petition. So a home rule petition essentially is a petition that we, the city of Melrose, send to the state legislature for their ratification and approval. It does have to deal with the sale of liquor, hard liquor, spirits in the city of Melrose, which now, as you probably do know, we only allow the sale of beer and wine from retail outlets.
Yes.
So that order was sent to committee, subcommittee of the members of the city council, in which we deliberated over it the other night, and city solicitor Robert Van Kampen was there at the time to answer some questions. And the proposal that was before the council was to allow for 2 retail outlets to sell spirits.
So we have Buckaloo's and Beacon Hill, right?
That is correct.
Are the ones selling beer and wine.
We do, and we have the potential for 3. But we only have 2 of those licenses being utilized now. The third is the now defunct The Cellar. It's down by Bobby C's at the
Yes.
Oak Grove Village.
Yeah.
So they went out of business. It's now, I believe, a daycare. And so there is still 1 license that could be used in the city of Melrose for a retail proprietor to sell beer and wine. But that would be limited to beer and wine.
So I want to back up for a second because my colleague Steve was doing some killer research of the history of liquor laws in Melrose. And just to put a little context, because this proposal was all about retail liquor, and there was a debate about bottle sizes and maybe we shouldn't offer nips because that other towns have had effects from that. And there's some discussion about different sizes of bottles. But what happens in a restaurant, Steve, according to your research? And Mike will keep you honest if you get any of the facts.
I was going to say, Mike's probably the better source on exactly what all the regulations say, but I was going back through the 2009 and 2015 sort of updates, and some of the details are pretty arcane in terms of what's permitted and so forth in restaurants. So I think the big question is, given how long and how detailed the rules are right now, why just this? Why only go for retail liquor, expanding beer and wine to liquor, rather than sort of a more comprehensive re-envisioning of, what restaurants can do and what kinds of restaurants can do, and what about beer gardens and what about microbrews and all the other things that people are doing now? Why not take a bigger view of some of that stuff?
So let me just jump in and help the viewers, because you may or may not know, like there are rules that you have to buy food after 1 drink. You can't serve alcohol in pitchers. You can't have a cover charge and have entertainment without special approval of liquor. So there's a lot of restrictions there.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the
Victorian.
Why
Yeah,
the
so
question.
Steve's right. So alcohol, when it comes to Melrose, actually, there's been really 2 formative decisions that were made. One was in 2008 on the ballot, which was then put into law in 2009, and that was what we not only formed the Liquor Commission, but we also allowed for the sale of, as I previously mentioned, the beer and wine, right? So that was a big move for Melrose. Secondly, in 2015, the Liquor Commission, actually there was a special commission that was created by then Mayor Dolan they held public hearings. They talked about reducing the seat size at restaurants to allow for beer and wine and liquor sales. So right now, from a restaurant perspective, there are 14 licenses that are available for the sale of liquor, full liquor license, and then there's 6 for beer and wine. That's how it exists now. But that process was actually very involved, and it took the better part of, I would say, 6 to 8 months in the 2014-2015 timeframe. That also was done via a home rule petition, but it involved, again, that special commission that was created in 2015 to hold those hearings and make forth recommendations to not only the Liquor Commission themselves, but also the then Board of Aldermen, now City Council.
So is it fair to characterize that as like a loosening up? A little bit.
Absolutely. So at that time in 2015, because this is something that a lot of Melrosians know, it's that whole you can't order a drink without food.
Yes.
So it was previously defined as a meal, but a meal wasn't defined. So they relaxed it to food and an item on the menu, essentially. So, chips and salsa don't count, beer nuts don't count. And you needed to have,
What
if you wanted to have
extra, what if I order extra guacamole?
Then it counts.
I think so.
Then it's food.
Right.
so.
It just can't be free.
That was a relaxing moment when the Liquor Commission did that. Now, those rules and regulations are promulgated by the Liquor Commission. The Board of Aldermen, the City Council, they don't have any role over those rules and regulations as it pertains to restaurants.
Yes, it's like the Traffic Commission we learned about.
That is
on this-
100%
Right,
correct.
right.
Yep.
So, Jen, what do you think? You think Melrose just doesn't want bar rooms, or like, are we uptight? Are we conservative?
Some people just don't like change. I think some folks, right or wrong, see the what ifs. A lot of times I get frustrated with what I call the environment of can't, or is the environment of sort of throwing up barriers. There's a lot of sort of imagining problems that are not. You're not certain that those things are going to happen. They're not
you've
data
been on
driven.
you've been on the Melrose Community Facebook page, I see.
No, that's not my source. I would apply that to a lot of issues. There's well, what if this happens? Well, there's a difference between being thoughtful and raising questions and issues that may need to be addressed, but then address them and find the ways out of the around the barriers and deal with the issues and move on. That's different than this sort of doom and gloom, or all these terrible things might happen that are just sort of in folks' imagination.
By the way, I love the Melrose Community page.
Yeah.
Just saying. But it is funny. You can get a lot of sort of those kind of comments,
Yeah.
which are just it's just not always the best format for an in-depth conversation.
Right, and I don't mean to knock folks that have genuine, fears about what if this or this happens, but that's not how I want my city council affecting, writing policy and stuff like that. So,
Well, and what I would say too is change is slow at
Yeah.
times, right? And there's not necessarily a problem with incremental change. And I think that's what Melrose is doing. And I think that they've done it in a very thoughtful way. I think that there has been an economic development component to it. It has been out in the conversational ether for some time. It certainly was an item that came up this fall multiple times. And I think one thing that came up during the debate that we had last Thursday at the City Council was these are not package stores. We're going to allow for the sale of hard liquor, spirits, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be incidental to the sale or the goods that are in that store. So it's more of a boutique, a craft type of place. If you go into Buckaloo's, the beer and wine right now is in the back, right? There's
Yeah.
all sorts of housewares and all sorts of other effects and gifts that you can purchase. So that's how we've slowly, incrementally changed that. And that really came up during the debate as well on Thursday.
can I just add to that too? So you mentioned Buckaloo's, and they're great. Even Beacon Hill Wine, who holds the other license. They're more. It's right in the name. They're even more of an alcohol vendor than Buckaloo's, but they still have a really distinct brand and sort of artisan brand, like you said. That's not a package store, and I think we have to have faith in the market a little bit in Melrose. And the reason that these conversations keep coming up and that people are talking about this and asking about this is that they're looking for experiences, and they're looking for these kind of craft spirits and craft items that a place that Beacon Hill or Buckaloo's would carry. Like you said, it's not gonna turn Beacon Hill wine into the Packy overnight. It's just not what the people in Melrose are looking to buy. It's not what those businesses are looking to sell. I think we have to have a little bit of faith in the market. And
So along those lines,
Sure.
where the bottle sizes was a big part of the discussion you had, and the nips are the smallest bottles there. So we've got some aids for the audience here to see. Those those smallest bottles are the nips, and seemed to be a clear consensus that that was something maybe to set a minimum size on up.
Yeah.
And maybe cutting those out. And you had an opinion on some of the mid-tier sizes there. And we've got some bottles on the far left to the viewer are the big 750 milliliter
Right. So
bottles.
just to conclude what occurred on Thursday, so there was two issues that happened. We amended the order that was before us to move it from 2 stores to 3, and that the smallest bottle that could be sold would be no larger than 750 milliliters. Excuse me, no smaller than 750 milliliters. And the point of that was because we didn't want really portable alcohol on your person.
Yeah.
We did not want nips due to the litter
Yeah.
and the fact that nips really serve one purpose.
Right.
So if you were going to go to a liquor store that's in Melrose that sells spirits, we figured buy a bottle that you're going to take generally home or to a party.
Right.
And that would be the sale and the purpose.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I agree with that. I agree with those types of questions and issues that the council was raising. So, do you feel now like these are some things that the city council can kind of take and look at and get into the proposals, and we can move on? I mean, I feel like we have to do this in Melrose. Like,
So
let's go.
very quickly, that is the proposal that's before the council right now. It was
Yeah.
held in committee because at the time we still had 24 to 36 hours left of Mayor Inferna,
Mm-hmm.
and members of the council wanted to wait to hear what Mayor Broder wanted to say about this. So
I see. Okay.
this will be coming up very soon.
Okay, cool.
Likely for further discussion, hopeful with approval.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I think the questions that, if I wasn't clear, the questions that you guys were raising, I think can be addressed, written in, amended. Like, I think it seems like it can go somewhere now. Yeah.
It did feel kind of like, it felt like a bit of odd timing in that sense, that it was sort of like at the very end of some people being in office and before other people who were very soon going to be in office and sort of responsible for dealing with these things were sworn in or took over. Any sense of sort of why now? Like why now, and why, given the impact, the very long-term impact and the sort of deliberate way we've done this in the past, why sort of rush this little bit of it?
Yeah, I can't answer that. What I would say is when you get close to an election, the calendar gets a little strange because there's a period where we don't meet at the city council. So even though it showed up on the agenda on October 17th, we actually didn't hear it until almost a month later. Why it came up at the end of one's administration, I just don't have an answer for that. But, what we did as a council in light of that is we responded by holding it in committee.
Yeah.
So I have to say, I watched that meeting and I thought I appreciated where the council landed on that because it had sort of devolved at one point to people Googling bottle sizes and things. It didn't seem like it was completely researched, even for a simple move forward. So I thought that was a thoughtful move on the council's
Well, glad to hear
part.
that.
And hopefully we'll get some things moving. And it would be interesting to know at some point, how do we have the broader discussion about restaurants, and there's a lot of other things happening. I'd love to. I think I'm somebody who likes to move slowly and deliberately, but I can see, live music and more of a barroom atmosphere sort of downtown.
So I see your point, and that sounded very deliberate and thoughtful, but I cannot say that I describe you as someone who moves slowly. Like you're like a whirlwind. You're like a tornado, and I mean that in a very kind way. So,
Well, I will take that in the kind spirit in which it was intended.
Is that a segue?
Yes.
Yeah.
So wait, we have some special walk-off music
Yeah.
as well.
which you won't be able to hear as soon as you take off the headphones.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you, Mike.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. All right.
So I must say, it was very kind of him to come down
Yes.
here.
Very kind.
And-
Spirit of kindness.
And even more kind for our next guests, I think. Go ahead.
Yes.
take
Do you
that.
want to introduce?
I was
No,
waiting
you
to
go
see how
ahead.
you were going to do that one.
All right.
Do we have walk-on music for them?
Yes, it's the same walk-on music we had for Mike. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, I'm gonna wait till they get there.
Put their headphones on so they can
Well,
hear it.
I'll play it twice so we
Okay.
can enjoy it.
We're not much on things.
Got
Oh, I can hear it.
Yes.
it. There we go. How's that? Welcome.
Okay, so we have Mary Beth Darwin and Stephanie Nelson from Melrose. What is the official name? Kindness
Melrose
Committee.
Random Acts of Kindness Day.
Random Acts of
Fabulous.
Kindness Day.
Which is tomorrow.
Yes,
Right?
and we brought cookies.
That's so kind.
Wow,
So
how
amazing.
kind of you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Very much in the spirit of the
This
day.
is, oh my
Oh,
God.
those look good.
These look good. These are like the real deal.
Well, they just. they're
Awesome.
not.
Did you make
Ooh,
them? No?
chocolate chip.
I
She made them from scratch.
broke
Yeah.
them apart and put them in the oven for you.
Or that.
That's the point about that. That's one of my questions about Kindness Day. Is I felt pressure all day. I had to
Okay,
be
let's
thinking
let's
of
talk
some
about
things.
that for a minute because one of our producers
Am I
challenged
really
us.
that a terrible person that I had to like think really hard about what I was going to do?
All right, let's. Well, I could
Never
share
mind.
share some of my struggles behind the scenes, but they don't know what we're talking about yet because
Yes,
one of our
got it.
producers we actually have a meeting to prepare for this show.
We
I don't
did.
know
If you
if
can
the-
believe
It
it.
was
the viewers.
less random when you have to plan it ahead of time and do it on a certain time.
But one of our producers, Tom Shampoo, challenged us to each do a random act of kindness before the show today, which I have to say was in a lot of intense pressure.
Yeah.
Do you get the mayor's blog?
I saw this after the fact.
Oh, you did.
It's very good.
I sent out 100.
There's 103 ideas on there.
yes.
Yeah, I actually Googled some ideas, which is terrible. Like I can't think of anything. No, that's not true. Let's share what we did in a moment. But how about if you guys share with us a little bit about what all the great things that are going on around town? Because you were telling us a little earlier.
Yeah, so
Really
this
cool.
is the fourth annual, and this year I really think we've ramped it up quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah, it
look, we're
sounds
here
like.
in the
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah. This is the pinnacle.
This
Next
is-
level.
This is it. Yeah.
Next level.
Next, Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is happening around town? So all of the merchants in Melrose, most of them know about it. It was really great to be able to go into each shop this year and have them say, "Oh, we knew you were coming." They all have different things planned, either for people who come into the store, or some of them are showering other organizations within Melrose during the day. So I know that Buckaloo's has something really special planned for one of the retirement communities in town. They didn't want me to say that because there's so many people who don't want to take too much credit for kindness.
Well, it's Random Acts of Kindness Day Eve tonight. So
Yeah.
the people watching live are going to have a leg up on the rest of the
Cookies.
crowd.
And we have cookies for it. It does feel like Christmas Eve.
So there's that. There are Melrose Ed Foundation, Melrose Grad Night are both doing stuff for other organizations. We know some new members of some new city council are embracing the day and showering.
They want it to be a surprise. That's why
Okay,
she's
I
being
know.
paid.
I know.
They're
Oh, that's right. It is.
showering
They're
really
showering some really
important-
important people with kindness.
Okay.
right.
Oh,
tomorrow.
that's so cool. Well, we'll all be tuning in and
So
watching for
what
happens
can we do on
tomorrow.
an individual level? What can one person watching the show today think about tomorrow or any day? Tomorrow's a special day, but
So we have kind of a cool story that we could tell you about
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So a woman last year, her name is Jennifer, and she was eating dinner at Giacomo's. And they went to pay the check. She was with her husband, and they went to pay the check, and the waiter said, "It's been taken care of." And so they looked around, being, I think, like long-term Melrosians, they looked around to see who was there and who was taking care of their check, and they couldn't find anyone. So they asked the waiter, and the waiter said, "Oh, actually, the woman's at the bar." And her mother used to come in all the time and buy meals for random people, and her mother's passed away, and she's continuing to do it.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
so
Oh, just
Story.
wait.
But wait, there's more.
story.
Oh,
But wait, there's
oh,
more.
thank goodness
So-
you're here.
So they walked up to this woman and they hugged her, and I just thought that was awesome that she didn't leave and she
Yeah.
allowed herself to be recognized for it. And they were all really happy. And so the next week, or maybe a few weeks later, they decided to do the same thing. So they were at Malden Station in
Mystic Station in
Malden. And they went in and they had a meal and they said, "Okay, we're going to do the same thing to someone else." So they saw a woman sitting at the bar and she
Eating
had,
alone.
Yeah, eating alone, and she was very young, and she had tattoos, and she looked kind of different than they did. And they're like, "That's her. We're gonna shower her with kindness." So they bought her meal, and then they left. And
They actually raced out. They were
They raced out,
excited
yes.
to be anonymous.
Okay, yeah.
Right. And a woman came up to them on the street and said, "I'm hungry, and can you give me some money?" And they said, "Well, we're not going to give you money, but we'll bring you somewhere to get some food." And she said, you know what I'd really like is will you bring me to a grocery store? I can get a couple of loaves of bread, maybe a pound of turkey, and I can feed some friend of mine who are also hungry.
Oh, cool.
And so they did that. And that's kind of just a great story, I
Yeah.
think, of the way that random acts of kindness just moves through community. So if you open the door for someone, I mean, it's easy as that. Then you put that person in a little better mood. When they go in to buy a cup of coffee, perhaps they'll buy a cup of coffee for the next person in line,
Yeah.
making that person pretty happy, and so it kind
Yeah,
of goes on like that.
I think you're right that it does. It puts you in the frame of mind that not only do you feel good and it livens up your mood, but it makes you think about the fact that that just happened to you, and it makes
Consciously.
you think about doing it for someone else. Like even as something as simple as the door holding. If someone does that for me and I notice it, your inclination is going to be to like look behind you then next. You know,
Absolutely.
like yeah.
Right.
It's
Or
easy.
how about give up a parking spot?
Oh, I don't know that I would
Ooh,
do
that's
that.
a big one.
Well, it
I'm not sure.
It sounds
This is
so
Boston
simple.
after all.
Oh, wait a minute. Some of these rules are in conflict with each other because number 17 is be good to you.
Ooh, and give up your parking space.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you keep your parking space.
That could be-
Self-inflicted kindness.
so
Well,
what did we
listen,
do
if
today?
everybody is kind to everybody, what kind of world would this be?
Imagine.
So
Well, it's funny you say that. We've run into a lot of people that maybe are a little bit standoffish and
Well,
say
maybe not a lot of people, but some people.
we run into
fewer and fewer.
we run into
obviously,
fewer
right?
and fewer people, but some people that will say, "Oh, I'm kind every day." And we respond with, "Well, that's fabulous. We're celebrating people like you because we try to be." But I don't know that that's very realistic. And so this is about awareness.
Yeah, it makes
Make a
sense more.
conscious
Yeah.
choice to do something nice. Open a door, give up a parking spot. Buying a cup of coffee is such a good example because it's a tangible. So we have these kindness cards. And it says, you've just received a random act of kindness. Now it's your turn. Do something kind and unexpected for someone and leave this card when you do. It will make you feel good. So picture I'm in line at Starbucks. I get a coffee for myself. I buy one for Mary Beth. I pass this to Mary Beth. Mary Beth's like, what is this? And then you walk out of there and you think, you hope that they're inspired
Yeah.
to do something else.
Yeah.
And then there's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
We actually are super excited because Wakefield, the Wakefield Human Rights Commission,
Yeah.
saw Mary Beth's story that was on WBUR today and said, why isn't Wakefield doing this? How do we make this happen? And it started to blow up. And that's obviously our hope that it does ripple into
Yeah.
other communities.
Regionally, yeah.
Yeah, one thing we like to say is it's kind of like Thanksgiving. I mean, I really am thankful every day for the blessings that I have in my life. I really am. But I also like Thanksgiving, you know, because we
Yeah.
get to sit down and really think about it and be together. And we think
Yeah.
of Random Acts of Kindness Day in the same way. Like, please be kind every day. That's just a fabulous thing to do. But honor kindness on tomorrow.
Is there a reason that you came up with this specific day? 'Cause I feel like it should be like in March when everybody's like the crabbiest.
Yes.
That's when I need. That's
Yeah.
when we have
That's a good
another
point.
one. Can we have like another like
Well,
winter blues?
So it's funny you say that. Last week there was World Kindness Day.
Yeah.
In February there's a week for kindness. So a lot of people get confused, but at the end of the day,
Let's just-
if it's just about being kind
Yeah.
in this culture where it's very negative and toxic at times,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to talk about something positive that makes you feel good.
Absolutely.
November 20th, in 2015, there was an incident that happened at Melrose Middle School where a very small group of kids took it upon themselves to act out at the school system.
I agree.
But I did have a middle schooler at the time, and I remember I was walking the dog, and I was just feeling so gut punched that this had happened in a community that I live in. And my son had nothing to do with it, but at the same time, I thought of parents of the children who were kicked and also parents of the children who did the kicking, and how difficult it is to be a parent and how difficult it is to be a child. And I was just like,
We have to
really
do better.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just decided on that day in 2015 that every November 20th,
Gotcha.
I would
Okay.
just be kind, and it's grown since then.
I guess I should have put it together. I knew how this came about, and I just didn't realize it was like tied to the specific date. You
Yeah,
know, but
so that will
and
never
I know,
happen again on
Yeah,
November
exactly. And
20th. Yeah.
I know that that's not what you guys like to focus on. I've been
That's
told you guys
correct.
want to talk about. So I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. I know you guys want to talk about like what everybody's everybody's doing now and what we can be doing.
Well,
And
it's
so,
important.
It's a piece of the story,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
think there's so much positivity
Yeah.
now that sort of overwhelmed that negative piece of it.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
We like it to be on that day because it's a day that we took back.
Yeah,
We took it back and we made it our own. Kinded it up.
you did. You did.
That's great. I love that it's a day. I
Yeah.
like just what you said about Thanksgiving, about, it's a special day to
not the
acknowledge
best
that, but it's something
example.
to think about all throughout the year. I thought, preparing for today and to speak with you and meeting our own challenge, it does raise awareness, and there's simple things on here. Push the grocery cart back after you're done using it, and those things that maybe you're doing every day. But then it was interesting to sort of think about, to actually sort of try and do a deliberate act. So
Yeah.
you want to share our experience?
Sure.
with
Diamond
that?
here.
Sure. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
So I was trying to be I was really busy today, and I was trying to be a little bit more clever and creative. I know I like the pay for someone's dinner and lunch kind of things. Like those are all great. I was trying to think of something that didn't involve me throwing money at a problem. And not to say that it's all good, but I personally wanted to think of something that was a little more work for me. But I couldn't. I was busy. I'm a terrible person. So I did but I'm still thinking about it. I still have tomorrow to think about something else. But for now, I did the pay it back at the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through line.
Perfect.
Like the last two people behind me,
Oh,
This guy
the
and the
thing
next
you
guy.
texted me wasn't you?
No, I meant to tell you that. So I
That
was
was a
joking.
joke?
That
I was so proud of you.
No, I
Oh
said
my
it.
God.
Okay, so let
that
me
put
shout
so much
out.
pressure on me. I was telling Stephanie, I go, look what Jen did.
Look
I have so much
look At the
pressure.
text. Look at the text. It says, I'm just going to say, I can't think of anything, so I'm just going to say this was me. So Melrose Bank, I was like, he just thinks it was me. All right, that's fine. I shared with these guys, Melrose Bank had posted, someone had filled up their free library box or
Oh, I
something like
saw
that.
that.
And they
Yeah.
posted that. And I texted these guys and I said,
Pretend it's you.
I can't think of anything to do. I'm just going to pretend this was me. Because the guy said, they said, Melrose Bank said, we don't know who did this, but thank you. And I was like, I can't think of anything. I'm just going to say that was me.
So your brand is so creative and thoughtful that I bought that, and I was just, and it made me a little sad, honestly,
I'm
because
sorry.
I was like, wow, the bar was
I
high.
didn't mean to make you sad, Tom.
We went for a walk last night, and I said, there's the little library that
The Gen Library.
Jen's library.
Was this before or after your random act of kindness?
It was before, which
Before,
made
so
it,
then
which
that set
made
the
it
bar
hard.
high, right?
So
Yeah.
what I did is I did a coffee card thing. So I figured, okay, I make coffee at home, so I don't go and buy it, but I've got some gift cards, and I was stuck because I'm like, it feels awkward, right? Your little card thing, I printed it out off the website and I taped it to the back of the card. I put it on somebody's door, right, this morning, figuring they'll get up this morning, they'll see that. But this helps explain it.
Yeah.
It is.
So I
Right.
thought that was a nice
It takes a little bit of
idea.
the awkwardness out of it,
Yeah.
if
I
you
still-
do want to have a
Right.
direct exchange with someone.
In this scenario, I still felt a little bit like a porch pirate, and I probably showed up on their security camera, but
Yeah, the
we'll
police
see.
are
Did you
looking
have
for
any
you.
luck with kindness this week, Steve?
I mean, kindness is its own reward.
True?
No, seriously, I actually I thought this
You
was
still have today.
this was
I mean, tomorrow.
enlightening because for me because it we all think we do nice things and I think we all probably do, but it's when you set out to do something deliberate, you have to think of something different than the things that you're used to doing.
Right.
So we in our house make and sort of preserve and jar a lot of homemade foods. So like pickles, tomatoes, applesauce, that sort
Wow.
of thing. So we gave some to one of our neighbors who
Yeah.
does not do
Perfect.
that, and
That's great.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
cool.
That's
That's
awesome.
I
great.
love that too because it's I love the things where you've made something,
Yes.
That's extra.
Yes,
far as I'm
that is
concerned,
extra.
yeah.
Extra
those
credit.
Those are always
Extra
the best
credit,
gifts.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming
Thank you for
down and
having us.
sharing your kindness and your cookies.
Have a wonderful
Can we
day
give you
tomorrow.
each a kindness
yes.
warrior
Oh my
sticker?
God! Yeah, I was hoping you were going to. I was
kindness
waiting.
warrior.
So
Yes.
the
Nice.
Kindness
Yeah.
Warrior
Earns it.
sticker, the thinking behind it, these are
sure I'll
distributed
put it on my
throughout the
laptop.
city after you've participated in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
You'd put your sticker on that you were proud to have participated in
All
the
right.
day. But the other pieces in our schools, all of our schools have embraced the concept, and
Yeah.
so the teachers are wearing it.
Oh, nice.
So the hope is that the students will ask about it, and it'll initiate a discussion
Oh, cool.
about kindness.
It's like getting a paw at LinkedIn.
These are also the posters that you'll see in all the
I've
schools.
been seeing them.
and
Yeah.
So
merchants everywhere, we hope.
Yes.
So I have to say the name makes me feel better, Kindness Warrior, because earlier tonight we invented Melrose Kindness Punch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Which will be after the show. Is
For
that the
you
official
guys.
line?
Yes.
So yeah, join
This
us
is
after
water.
for some Melrose Kindness Punch, and thanks to our live studio audience who's back there enjoying the Kindness Punch. Woohoo! Oh, we didn't do. No, wait. We didn't. Oh, wait, that's just cheers. We
Yes.
didn't. We have to still do our wins of the week and stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. These
Gotcha.
guys
Yeah,
are
that
gonna-
was
we're
just the
just-
kindness punch.
Yes.
Thank you
We're,
very much
we're gonna
for
play
having
you
us.
some tunes for your walkout that you
the
won't be able to
walkout.
hear
Thank
as
you
soon as
very
you
much.
hang those on. Thanks so much for being here and have
Thank
a
you so
great
much for
day
having us.
tomorrow.
Thank
This is
you.
great. Thank
Thank you. Hey, Jen, I'm not ending the show.
I just was getting nervous.
That was great.
That was super cool.
And yes, so we've got the Kindness Punch,
Yeah.
where we blended Spirit Day and Kindness Day, and we're celebrating
That's
everything.
good. That's
Yes.
good. I didn't
Yes.
put that together actually until just now.
So producers are showing me we've been shown some kindness. There are 40 live viewers right now
Cool.
On the stream. So many people watch the show after it airs. When we get to 100, is going to be a party. So when we get to 100 live viewers on a Tuesday night at 8:30, there's going to be a big bash to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, we have other things to celebrate.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold
Wins
Wait,
of
a
the
minute.
on, hold
All
on.
right, wait. First, there's news, Steve.
What does that mean?
That means this is an important news bulletin.
Okay.
So the news is this show, Let's Talk Melrose.
Yes.
Broadcast all over the world via Facebook.
It is. And we
Is-
have viewers all over the world.
Yes.
It's now also on the most coveted medium, local cable access,
Mm-hmm.
Verizon Channel 39, Comcast Channel 3, Wednesday nights at 10:30, Thursday nights at 10 p.m. More times coming. Go to mmtv3.org. Check your local listings,
Oh
as
my
they
God.
say.
Yeah.
So we are
We
going
are unstoppable
worldwide across
across Melrose.
Melrose. So you can watch us on your device. We're uploaded to YouTube. You can see us on the local TV stations and anywhere that is your convenience.
I'm
But
gonna need a
So
trailer.
that's a win for us.
that's
Yeah,
a win.
that's a win.
That's a win.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into wins of the week. So who wants to start with that?
I've got one.
Okay.
Big win of the week. The win of the week for me was the Boston Globe Spotlight series on traffic. So not because I like traffic, not because I like reading about traffic, but because the Globe, I think, really put a focus on traffic in a way that I think is necessary. You know, it's something that everybody who drives anywhere really, it's not even just commuters anymore. It's not just driving in and out at rush hour. It's just traffic has become such a problem in Boston, and the stuff that we're doing about it just hasn't really done anything. So to have the Boston Globe sort of really shining a spotlight on
I was
it,
gonna
one
say
might
it's the
say.
Spotlight series. You know, it's
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah, exactly. So that I feel like is good, and hopefully will lead to some good things.
Were there any highlights, any sort of
Is there any
takeaways
place
that you
that
have
there
at this?
isn't traffic? Yeah, exactly.
No, there were some really interesting things in there. First of all, just the number of new sort of commuters. You know, it's tens of thousands of new cars just in the last like 5 or 6 years
didn't know
are
that.
driving into Boston. Yeah, so that feeling that we all have, like, it didn't used to be this bad, did it? It did not used to be this bad. Like, it is actually worse.
Wow.
And then the other one that I thought was interesting is they surveyed lawmakers. So they surveyed the state legislature and surveyed city councilors in the immediate MBTA service area and found almost none of them take the T. They almost all also drive. So to expect, the implication being that to expect sort of the sense of urgency that the MBTA and transit deserves, they're not experiencing on a day-to-day basis the way one might hope.
Aha.
I think that's absolutely critically important. I'm a daily Orange Line rider, and it's rough. It really doesn't matter what the weather is.
Yeah, and we have it better here at Melrose because I mean, if we go
Yes.
to Oak Grove, we at least get to get on.
We have
whereas you
options.
Get down
Right.
a couple
Oh my
stops
gosh,
down,
yeah.
and you can't even get on the train.
Yeah.
That's very
No,
true.
so-
Very true. So that's great. I'm going to throw out an easy win for the week. Melrose High football is going to the Super Bowl.
Woohoo. Yeah.
How about that?
That was cool. And the band. I would say,
And the
and
band.
the band.
Again, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It's great.
Congratulations to them.
Congratulations. It's
They
great.
were undefeated, and the games were incredible. These kids were amazing.
Yeah,
So,
and it's fun
cool.
to go down to Gillette. You know.
I'm not doing that, actually. That's too far for me, but there's too much traffic. No,
Maybe
yay
MMTV
for everybody
will
who's
cover
going.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do that. But my kids will go, and they've said that's really fun. So, all right. So we're going from big to small here, I think, because I figured someone was going to say the Super Bowl thing, so I tried to come up with something smaller. So this is kind of like small random acts of kindness. This is small, but there are 2 Destination Imagination teams this year that are doing the Fine Arts Challenge, and it's about photography. And we got the Melrose High School photo teacher to give the 2 teams that are doing it an after-school demonstration today about the photo techniques that they need to learn about, and in the challenge that they have to do. And it was an 8th grade team and a 4th grade team, so the kids were really different ages. But the teacher invited them all to come in after school, and she gave a half-hour slideshow that showed them what they need to learn to be able to do this challenge. And I just love that she was willing to take time, and it's just another example of the Melrose community kind of coming together to help the kids, and so that was kind of cool for me.
She's great. My
Ms.
kid,
Membrino, shout out to Ms. Membrino.
my kids have had her. They have an Instagram feed
Yeah.
that kids post on.
Yeah. My daughter's on it too, yeah.
There's actually a photo of one of the hosts of this show in
Really?
in the lobby of the Melrose High School.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'll have to go
Extra
see
points
that.
if you can like
Yes.
identify it and send us a selfie.
Exactly.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Okay, so now let's wrap it up with what's coming up
Yep.
this week. What do you got? You wanna go
I'm
back this
gonna.
way?
I have 2, so I don't know if I'm going to take one away from you. But shout out to Parent University is this weekend. That's the Melrose Ed Foundation. That's going to be Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to noon at MH at the high school. It's all kinds of like parent workshops and sort of education workshops for parents for all ages. So if you've got teenagers, there's stuff for you. They're going to be talking about how some of the override funds are being used. If you've got little kids, they've got stuff for you. It's free to attend. Registration is required, so you have to go to the Melrose Ed Foundation site to register, but it is free to attend, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I almost mentioned that. So there's sessions on bullying, collaborative problem solving, college search, family sharing on Apple devices, getting to know LGBTQ plus, etc. So it's a wide range of things. It's a great Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You telling me what my event is?
No, they our producers are so.
Yes.
Farmers Market
Oh,
Sunday
that's
YMCA.
That's the
Is that
same.
yours?
That's the same one I
See?
had. Yes.
I'm just following Dr. Miner's
You're following-
direction. I'm following our fearless producer's direction.
I've never been good at following direction, but yes, Farmers Market is going indoors at the YMCA in the gymnasium Sunday at 11:24, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the gym.
Okay.
Nice. And for me, I've got one, which is the Lincoln Dads Social Club.
Whoa!
New group just formed. Looking at me like, how have I not heard about this?
Producers are upset.
Yes.
Are like Lincoln Dad alum?
Lincoln Dad Social Club, 8
Lincoln
p.m.
Dad
at-
alum invited
Oh,
too?
can I go as an alum?
I mean, however you self-identify.
Okay.
8 p.m. at night shift on Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, just social. So, as far as I understand, this will be the first one I've gone to. Cool.
You know, I think that's great because any excuse or opportunity to get people together outside of attending the PTO or pickup time or all of those things, I think that always adds a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the idea.
Community. I have to add one more. The Melrose High School drama is doing Clue this weekend.
Friday night?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think. It's the high school fall play. It's Clue. It should be fantastic. It always is. Melrose Drama is amazing. So shout out for that one too. You can check them out on Melrose Drama.
And I'm going to give a shout out to the Zoo Lights.
Oh, is that
Is
already
that starting
coming?
already?
Stone Zoo.
Already?
Starts next week.
All right,
Okay.
then.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so are we gonna step into the Let's Talk Melrose Lounge next? We'll
yes,
get some
I
of that
think so. I'm ready
Melrose-
for some kindness
Melrose
punch.
Kindness Punch.
I'm gonna put some of one of those things in my Melrose Kindness.
What,
Some of
what-
the-
what is in Kindness Punch? Do we know?
It is the 3 things that were in my cabinet at home. It is organic lemonade, blood orange soda, and Privateer Gold rum.
It's
All right.
good.
Make
It's
this at
really
home.
On
good.
ice.
It's very
Yes.
good. All right, here we go.
It comes out a nice Melrose red color.
I'll see you around town, Tom.
Oh, that's right, Steve. At the end of the show, we all say we're going to see you around town.
We will. Do we say it to the camera or to each other?
Whatever.
Either one.
See you around town.
Oh, and we dance again.
Yes,
Yes.
you have to dance again.
All right, let's drink.
Oh my God.
Are we still
Oh,
on the
I
air?
hope that made it on.
Did that?